Now, this scene is really starting to come together. You can tell that everything is fitting together nicely, but we do have a couple of little problems. One of them being that the batteries are now in the wrong place. We know that because we moved the battery compartment when we were making the bottom housing. So let's go to our section view, which is this button right up here at the top of our viewport, and make sure that we're looking at a section view of the right plane. And that will allow us to drag the section view back and forth through our product to find the center of one of our batteries. It doesn't matter which one. Hit OK. And now we should be able to see the middle of a battery and how it's fitting with our product. And we have a couple of problems with this, right? First of all, it looks like it's eating into our product a little bit. Not sure how that happened. I might have moved it earlier by accident. Also, down here below, we do have a little bit of extra space. But the most important thing is in the back, we're clearly not fitting, right? We need to move this forward to be in the middle of the battery compartment. So to move that, we can't actually move the component drop. That's fixed. We don't want to move the entire component drop assembly. We want to move the batteries within that assembly. So to do that, we have to right-click on the component drop and edit the assembly in context. Now we're editing that assembly, and we can move our battery around. So what I will do is right-click on my battery. Let's just find a spot where I can get a hold of it, like right there. Right-click it and go down to Move with Triad. And that's going to give me this handy little triad that I can drag around in order to position my battery just where I want it to be, which happens to be right in the middle of my battery compartment. And then I'm also going to drag it down a little because it's not fitting exactly right inside there. That looks good. And so I can exit that. But the problem is that now our battery compartment no longer fits the battery. We don't have space anymore. We need to make it a little bit bigger or a little bit sharper or both in order to accommodate the batteries. And so, you guessed it, we're going to have to go back to the master model and make a change. Fortunately, that should be pretty easy. So let's open up our master model in a new window. I'll grab that bottom loft. I'm going to grab one of those sketches. We'll edit that sketch. And right now we're at a row value of 0.7. Let's just knock that up to 0.8. So we're just nice and sharp. I'll do the same thing on the other side. Let's exit that guy. I need to grab the other one as well and knock up that row value to 0.8 on the other side. So it's nice and sharp. Now we have a really sharp bottom on this. We exit the master model. It's going to update everything, and it may take a minute because it has to update all of those files. It's going through and rebuilding both the battery door and the bottom housing, and that can take a minute depending on how complex those parts are. But trust me, that's way worth it because now we've made a change to our entire assembly all at once just because of smart design decisions when we were putting together this file. And now you can see that our battery fits, everybody is happy, and we can get back to work. The other little change that we need to make is to move our screw bosses. If you'll recall, our screw bosses are in the wrong place. We have holes in our circuit board here, but our screw bosses are way over where the original holes used to be. So let's actually edit our bottom housing part here in context. And if you'll recall, we didn't lock down those screw bosses when we first created them. So I'm going to find that original sketch that was used to create those screw bosses, and there they are, right there. And we locked that in place just with a fix constraint. You can see the little boat anchor there. The boat anchor icon tells us that this is fixed in place. If you're not seeing all those, by the way, you'll go up to the View menu and down to Sketch Relations, so you can see all these little green sketch relations. Anyway, I'll grab that boat anchor, delete it, and that's going to allow me to move this thing around. And what I can do is just take that and snap it right to the center of our new location. And I'll right-click and boat anchor that down again to fix it. Snap this to exactly the right spot so we get the right size hole. I'm going to drag these guys back down so that they're about the right length. That looks good. I'm not defining any dimensions here because I don't care that much. It's fine. I'll exit. We could define dimensions if we really wanted to, but clearly we don't need to. And that's going to update that, but it's also going to update the other instances. It's just not going to update their locations. We're going to have to update the locations of the other screw bosses as well. So let's turn off our section view for a second. You see that our other screw bosses are now the same size as this one, they're just still in the wrong places. So when we do our sketch pattern, if you remember, I'm going to have to edit that sketch with the points and snap those points to where the new screw boss locations are. Move each one of those. Exit my sketch. And now when it duplicates our screw bosses, they're going to duplicate to the new locations, which is exactly where they should be. Excellent. Exit that sketch. And now our screw bosses are right where they need to be in order to match up with the holes on our circuit board. Excellent.